live? Are we live? It looks like we might be live. I think we're live. We are live. We are live. As I get things situated, you hear me fumbling around in the pre-show, letting people come in if anyone shows up. And let's do this like Brutus. Vigilante Williamson here with the 9th episode of my show, The Vigilante Williamson Show. It is October 21st, Wednesday, October 21st, and I'm hoping that you're having a blessed night. It is midnight, a little after midnight, 12:22, looks like, as I read through my mask. And I hope everyone's having a blessed evening. Didn't even cut up anything from my last episode because I wasn't really that fond of it. A lot of technical issues. But on this episode, we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to try. I'm trying to shorten these podcasts because I have so many topics that I cover, and I want to give each topic a little bit more time and a little bit more attention. I've tried to pare that down a little bit in this episode, but on it, we're going to talk about Ice Cube and 50 Cent and really just the politicization of celebrities. Not only that, Chris Pratt also. And some surprising people coming to his aid. We're also going to talk about Troy Aikman and giving some really unaware comments about tax dollars, especially when we put everything in context. And we're going to have a lot more to talk about outside of that. And a lot to get into. But before I get into it, I just kind of want to give a little bit of personal kind of stories of what's going on in my life, or what went on the past couple of days or recently as I kind of cue things up. It's been a rough few days just with, I had to work on my car. It's kind of stressful. And it took a lot of time, a lot more money than I thought, but hey, I was able to get everything done. And I've been pretty tired, and I guess that's just like why I haven't really done much past couple of days on YouTube. I wanted to. I also was on Law. I keep making mistakes. I was on Sweetcast with Clint Stoker, so shout out to him for letting me on twice. And kind of fumbled on the second one with the sound. So it's just kind of a rough couple of days. But Vigilante is not going to quit. My hat is far too high. And we're going to get into quite a bit. But before I do, again, I want to talk again about Twitter and social media in general. I think it's fair to say quite a few people are starting to wake up to the idea that social media is very toxic. And it took me, it was a while ago when I used social media. I use it now. I mean, some of you may be finding the stream from either my Twitter or Parler. But I hadn't used social media before becoming Vigilante Williamson in maybe 6 or 7 years. Bring the mic a little closer. 2013, I really stopped. I took a year off and came back in 2014 for a few months and then just quit permanently and haven't been on since until now, until becoming Vigilante Williamson, doing this podcast, doing this channel, potentially music. No, I'm going to do music in the future. I'm actually working on it. That's one of the reasons I've kind of pared down my schedule as well as far as doing Vigilante Williamson content. But sorry. I've been having some anxiety things going on too with doing this stuff. Sorry about that. This is live and I freak out a little bit live. But it's been a rough couple of days. But I'm happy to do this. This has been pretty cool. But I was talking about Twitter. That's why I kind of lost my train of thought. Twitter, social media. I hadn't used it until I had a professional reason to use it. And as more people are finding out, it's very toxic. But the thing that bothers me the most about social media is it is a straw man. Don't get me wrong. It's had a massive impact on pop culture, on massive culture, on the way we interact with each other. But it's always assumed that everyone's on social media, and they're not. More people are not on social media than are on social media. And of all the social media platforms, Twitter is the least representative of the populace, yet it's the most used by the media as a way of propping up insane ideas, quite frankly, and extreme ideas. And I've talked about it in prior podcasts. It's only representative of about 2.2% of the population, if that. That's as of the most recent numbers I had. It could be less than that, honestly. And it's kind of crazy to me that so much is put on Twitter. Like, as far as the emphasis of its importance, Twitter is not really that important. It's not really representative. A lot of people are up in arms about these polls on how accurate they are. It doesn't seem like either side really believes these polls. If you look at all the favors that the Democrats have called in, they do not seem like someone who feel like they're up, especially with a lot of crazy things going on in the media about Hunter and Joe and the suppression of that, which I covered in previous podcast. The one I did Sunday, you can go ahead and check that out. And despite all that, despite whatever the polls say, they are working like they are behind or they're worried. And, Trump is doing his rallies and he's pretty confident. Like, no one's really believing the polls, right? They are far and away more representative of the people than Twitter will ever be, than Twitter has ever been. Yet again, it's the origin of every straw man that we're arguing politically, and people are getting killed for this, and people figuratively and literally. Luckily, today we're going to talk about figuratively, but even an attempt on a man, and it's disgusting. And Twitter, of course, bans the victim in a case that we'll cover a little bit. It's allowing this extremism to get weight where it shouldn't. Not only because it exists. Okay, I'm a free speech advocate. I think if you want to put something out there on Twitter, that's fine. But just the fact that the media, and I think people at large, maybe even content creators like myself, even though I don't typically go on Twitter, I have, for videos, I have gone on Twitter and shown reaction. And quite frankly, that's just giving more credence to bad ideas. And granted, the best disinfectant is sunlight. I agree with that. I think I stole that from the quartering, whatever. But I think it's just kind of a saying I've heard in other places. Kind of giving a platform to something that isn't representative. If Black Twitter reacts to something, you can't say African Americans believe something because Black Twitter says something. You know what I mean? Because it's so minuscule of a representation of the populace at large. So it shouldn't be used as a straw man that the media uses as. And that's for a lot of stories I've covered, a lot of stories I'm covering today, and a lot of stories I will cover. It's bad enough to use social media in general, and you shouldn't. Social media is not representative of what the people think, despite what people think. Because most people aren't on it, and it leads to echo chambering, quite frankly, on all sides. And I don't really feel obligated to point. To me, both sides are bad, but one side has gone so crazy that it's frightening, quite frankly. And I think Twitter has been a huge part of that, huge part of the polarization of this country. And the real reason is because it's given more of an audience and more credence than it actually has. It's not representative of the people. Small percentage do most of the tweets, and then the media picks up on it and forces down straw mans down our throats, and then we argue through straw mans, and we get balkanized through these insane theories, insane critical race theory that now is supposed to be mainstream. These tolerant allies, you know what I mean, who will beat a black man if he talks about Antifa, knock his teeth out, because most of these allies in our Antifa are Antifa allies, which is just an idea, of course. And most of them, not most of them, but a higher percentage of them, an alarming percentage of them, quite frankly, are in academia. So these same academics who look down on us come up with this crazy critical race theory and then peddle it out and profit off of it. Robert DiAngelo admits she's a racist and is able to profit off of it. This is like Richard Spencer being able to profit off of his, like going to a college tour or something like that. And then, if you should ever speak out, I talked about the man who was beaten by Antifa. I'll talk about 50 Cent and Ice Cube. And then I'll just talk about the other side too. Okay, you're all on the other side. No, some people, quite a few of us on this earth, are politically agnostic. A lot more than people think. And I'm tired of the idea that, you pick one side or you pick neither side, you're weak-minded. No, I think it's very weak-minded to just get in the echo chamber, not listen to anyone, and balkanize the country. And granted, the left has been way more insane than the right. The right has a lot to answer for, too, especially when you talk about these useless-ass politicians. And quite frankly, Trump, I'm not, I did vote for the guy, just, recently I talked about that in the previous podcast, but I'm not a pro-Trump guy. He's in favor of red flag laws, which scared the crap out of me. I think that's one of the few things when people say fascist, those red flag laws are kind of fascist. They're not kind of. They shouldn't exist. They're fucking stupid. He's also, one of the main reasons I don't like him is because he's too far left, quite frankly, with a lot of his policies. A lot of money printing, a lot of things that are going to get us in trouble down the line. And I'm not a fan of him. I don't really like him. He says something that are funny, and like I said, I'm agnostic, but I'm not a Trump guy. But the right does nothing, and the left does damage, and they're just insane. It seems like, and that's not the entire left. I know there are common sense liberals and common sense conservatives who exist, and I wish more of them had more of a audience instead of the radicals on Twitter. And I know there's a lot to be said about both common sense liberalism and common sense conservatism. I would rather things get a little bit more on the right just because of how crazy it is. But the whole political spectrum concept is getting a little bit old because we see how much impact corporations and just, not talking about the media and Twitter, they can just manipulate narrative so much. So I think it's really the people against the powers that be, but they have done such a great job of separating us. And I'll get into my stories after this in a little bit, but I just want to say, hey, no matter what you think about pretty much anything, quite frankly, all the things that separate us or all the things that we're told are separating us, a lot of them aren't. A lot of us are just living our lives, quite frankly, more than will get reported, of course, because we have to be balkanized. But whatever it is that you are uneasy. Just today I saw the guy with a bunch of Trump flags. It was not too far from my house. It looks like he was selling them, but one of them was a Confederate flag. It gives credence to that alt-right Yahtzee sort of concept. But no matter what you think about anything that people disagree with you with or may disagree with you with, we all have to live in this country, we all have to live on this planet. So we have to come to some consensus. At some point we have to sit down and come to some consensus and stop letting very crazy and very just balkanistic language and balkanistic concepts and people who are even unwilling to discuss things with one another. And that's really where things get dangerous. And we're going to get into people being attacked and really in all cases, except one, wrong one. We're going to get into people being attacked for just, speaking their mind and having common sense approaches. 50 Cent says, vote for Trump in light of Biden's tax plan. I'm out. The star later asked for a loan after fans pointed out the tax rates for wealthier individuals. Quick aside about me, I am completely fiscally conservative. I think taxes should be lowered. The less taxes, the better. A lot of people know this, a lot of people don't, but when you lower taxes, you actually get more in because more businesses can start. Rich people tend to not go through all the loopholes to get out of taxes. And you get more tax revenue by lowering taxes. So I'd much rather lower taxes. I am not in favor of Biden's tax plan at all. I want taxes to be lower. I think Trump could lower taxes, actually. I wish he would lower taxes and actually lessen government. That's what I want from him, because he's not really done that. And I'm not a fan, like I said. But I felt antagonized, and I'll show evidence. Here's the receipts to my antagonization, my feelings of antagonization. What happened with 50 Cent for saying he doesn't want to give half his cash up. He doesn't want to be divorced from the government each year. People say pay your fair share. To what? For the government to do what? All these people who are angry at the government, they're angry at Trump, right? Cool. I say I don't like him myself, right? You're angry at him, but you want to give the government all of your tax dollars. So the next person, maybe someone else comes in that you're angry with, and he has all of your tax dollars and control of all of your tax dollars and impact on all of your tax dollars. This is democracy. You know that, right? Well, no, it's not. I take that back. I am completely incorrect. This is a republic in which we are able to vote for a representation politically or, legislatively. So why do you want to give these people more money? But let me get on my soapbox, get into the story. It appears 50 Cent knows who he's voting for. The 45-year-old hip-hop mogul born Curtis James Jackson III took to Instagram Monday to offer his support for President Trump after seeing figures related to the former Vice President Joe Biden's proposed tax plan. The star shared an image from what appeared to be a news broadcast displaying top tax rates by state under the Biden tax plan. Among the states mentioned was New York, which the broadcast said would be taxed at the rate of 58%, while New York City would be taxed at 62%. I actually just learned today, shout out to Black Conservative. He actually broke it down that that's not exactly how it works. There's tax brackets, so depending on how many, to basically say that rate is for every dollar over 400,000, but any dollar under 400,000 will be taxed at a different rate. So it's not 62% of the entire amount. And he worked it out to what it would still be a great amount. It still is I think 53% is what it really will work out to. But it's still incredible to give up half of your cash just because you make more money. For that cash should be misused by the government regardless of who's in power. And if you say, hey, I don't want this idiot government to take all of my money and just use it for purposes where I can't control it. And as a rich citizen like 50 Cent or any extremely wealthy, they really are paying for whole programs. You know what I mean? And taking that much of his income, that's incredible. Or anyone's income. And it sounds all good because you think, oh, these are good for programs but these aren't. And we know how corrupt politicians are in general. Not even the specifics to Biden and Harris, and a lot of corruption we've seen thus far just throughout this year from mainly the left. Not that it isn't the right, like I said, I'm not a fan, but goodness, the left has just been so corrupt. And just this attacking, I'll show more throughout the podcast, this attacking of celebrities. And they're trying to, it's not that I care about these celebrities. I care about the ideas. I care about them being attacked as proxies for people who think like them. You know what I mean? And that's really the danger, because people are being attacked, as I also show. But what the vote for Trump. I'm out. Jackson wrote in a caption. Love this one. F New York. The Knicks never win anyway. I don't care. Trump doesn't like black people, which, you be the judge of that. 62% are out. Are you out of your effing mind? The reason I said you be a judge of that, because I don't think he's necessarily racist, but I also don't think he's necessarily not. I think those people who Trump support, oh my God, I don't care. I don't really care either way, because as long as he does as long as he can get the F out of the way, that's all I want from government. And I don't like government, so I don't care. I just dislike them all. But it's weird, this whole Trump racism thing, because like I said earlier, there are people who support Trump who are very white nationalists. That part exists. Now, as I also show, there's tons of racism on the left, and that's really what's more scary, especially with how power hungry they are. But there is a racist element to the Trump support. I think it's a minute element just from my own observations, but I'm not making any excuses for it. It does exist, and I do see it, and it is BS. So whether or not Trump himself, I don't know. I think Trump is pretty much a sociopath, like most politicians. I love him or hate him, whatever. I've been pretty. This is the pales of things of a centrist. You know what I mean? It's funny because, like I said, I voted for the dude with a bashing him, but Trump, rather than not he likes black people, rather than not he's racist, I don't think it matters really. And I know that sounds crazy. What matters is actually he doesn't act like someone who is going out of his way to be discriminatory towards groups. He says offhanded comments. He just says whatever he feels. He's very flippant. I think he will do whatever he can to market to do whatever he wants to do. But I don't necessarily think he's someone who is this alt-right KKK member. But I don't think he's someone who will bash them in case they would vote for him. I'll tell you that much. And Joe Biden clearly isn't either because he fucking gave a eulogy for one of them. So that's just, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't really like these politicians in general. And I know a lot of people, yeah, he's denounced white supremacy a bunch. I get that. And I'm not saying that he is. But I do think he's definitely marketed himself to them. How about that? And I think that because of a lot of what the left has done, and I know this is a tangent from this story, but it's brought up, is Donald Trump racist? And I just want to give my view on that. A lot of left has created the alt-right that they've been so afraid of. I've talked about it in previous podcasts. I do see some kind of racially despicable stuff online a lot more than I did previously. So there's something to it. It's not completely unfounded. You'll hear, I hear people deny racism, and look, racism is real, but racism can be overblown, and more pressingly, a lot of people are using racism as a means to profit, one way or another. And rather than not Donald Trump's racist, I'm someone who's how about that? I'm agnostic to that because I don't necessarily think he isn't, but I don't think he's like pitchfork racist, if that makes sense. But I know it was a tangent. I've been on a lot of tangents today. I just kind of want to be as thorough as possible with a lot of stuff I say. Let's get back into this 50 Cent story. This post garnered a great deal of support for the incumbent candidate, though a handful of followers insisted the numbers only apply to rich people. Shortly after that, he shared another post that similarly boasts about his wealth. I just remembered I'm bankrupt. I'm looking for a gracious loan. Can anyone help a brother out? LOL. He wrote alongside a photo of himself smiling, and this is kind of ironic because if you remember, he actually filed for bankruptcy, which was a joke in and of itself because he had freaking vitamin water stock hanging out and freaking it's like you go into the poorhouse, I don't have no money, like, well, you got vitamin water stock and Coca-Cola stock in your back pocket worth like hundreds of millions of dollars. You have the masters to a lot of your songs. Are you kidding me? They still play that in the club on TV shows and movies. Get the hell out of here with this bankruptcy stuff. But he filed it. It's funny because that's kind of a Trump move, to do whatever you can to get out of money, which you can legally do it. He capped off the post by adding 2 hashtags to represent the alcohol brands he owns: Branson Cognac and Tech Minduro. Then this is a little bit more about his cognac. And he says, who is this? And then Christy Alley, who cares about that? That's not part of the story. But yeah, he's not a part of this. He doesn't want to vote for Biden. And of course, because he said something about Trump, everybody has to cash in. So Eric Trump, and that's in the thumbnail of this podcast itself, shows a manipulated photo of Ice Cube. And of course, Ice Cube's reaction.
Rapper 50 Cent appeared to endorse President Trump in a Monday Instagram post, citing Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's tax rate plan. 50 Cent took to Instagram to condemn Biden's plan, which raises taxes for corporations.
Shut up, bro. The Hill talking spit. But everybody doesn't want to be a part of the culture war. Chris Pratt doesn't want to be a part of the culture war. People just want to do their jobs and make money. Even me, I've been doing this political stuff. I've been doing political things in pop culture. I still will. But like, I'm really tired of this culture war. I just want to live my life. I don't want this crazy radical stuff going on, especially with the left and these radical politics. But I don't want... One thing I worry about just having a conservative viewpoint is this bearding. And this is what Eric Trump is doing. He's trying to use Ice Cube and 50 Cent as his beards. And that's why Ice Cube hit him with the nigga please. Are you kidding? You know what I mean? And yeah, it's a meme, whatever. But that's... And both sides do this crap. Good Lord, the fucking left, the BLM movement, while these white leftists beat up black people and burn down buildings for black justice. It's just crazy. Everyone just politicizing and strawmanning everybody. Like, Eric Trump, lead these. Okay, it's a cute little tweet. It's adorable, but like, this idea, and everyone on the right, they can be as echo chambery as the left, as it seems. It's just like, oh, somebody said something towards us, and we're all supporting them right now because, you know, leftist tears. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't care about nobody's tears. I just want the world not to burn down. I just want to be able to get a job. You know what I mean? I have a job. Luckily, knock on wood, because it's a blessing every day. I want to be able to live life as comfortably as possible, get things as normal as possible, if that's can even happen. No one cares about this crap except these sick journalists. I say no one cares. I cover it, but I'm covering it from the perspective of like, listen, I just want to live my life. Who cares about? When I say who cares about 50 Cent, like, why does 50 Cent and Ice Cube's views have to be used as political fodder when they're just citizens giving their opinions? In the case of Ice Cube, he's somebody who wanted to use his platform for good. That's what people say. But instead, people give up empty gestures. Ice Cube looks for solutions, doesn't get it from one side, and he's the bad guy. And then, of course, the other side, oh, he has a Trump hat. It's like, leave me alone, bro. Get the fuck out of here, nigga, please. You know what I'm saying? I don't even like you saying that word a bunch, but I got to just because, like, what the fuck? What are you doing? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's just, it's BS. Oh, man. It shows how I just ramble so much. I meant to do the intro I meant to do the Many Men, and I'm going to do it. Fuck it. Many Men. Oh, fucked it up. I need another take. That's what happens with live TV. Many men wish death upon me. Blood in my eyes, dog, and I'm going to see. I can't see. It's too late. This is what happens when you plan a podcast out, have anxiety, and then you just go live and every plan just goes to spit. So I can't do the cover because I'm too tired to do it. But I was planning on, before I even did the podcast, right after I did my little spiel, do it. Forgot and couldn't, third time's a charm. This is a live podcast. I'm losing viewers. I'm at 0 viewers anyway, and I'm sure anyone who actually came through this podcast stopped and said, what the hell is this? But every podcast so far has had a moment like that. But I'm going to try last time to do the Many Men cover. And many men wish death upon me. Blood in my eyes, dog, and I can't see. I'm trying to be what I'm destined to be. And left is trying to take my life away. Many men. Many, 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 many men wish death upon me, and I don't cry no more. Don't look to the sky no more. Have mercy on me, have mercy on my soul. Somewhere my heart turned cold. Have mercy on many men, many, 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 many men wish death upon me. All right, that's 15 minutes too late, but yeah. That's what happens when you're super tired and doing a show. So I referenced this earlier. Phillip Anderson, a Trump supporter, a free speech supporter at a free speech rally, gets his teeth knocked out by Antifa and Black Lives Matter members. A black man gets their teeth knocked out for their speech, and Twitter bans his account. One of the main reasons I came up with this Vigilante Williamson character was actually from music, even though I can't sing, but decided to do this now was because of stuff like this that scares the hell out of me. Speaking of music, I have a pump action banjo, so that's what keeps me a little bit safe, at least in my own home. But I still worry about this, and I'm worried about what's going to happen in the election. I'm worried about this violence, this unjustified violence, and it's just everything's okay. Twitter will ban an account. I thought this was about racial justice. They literally beat up a black man for no reason. And we see when a black person has any type of view that's not left, because we're just all supposed to, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's literally how they think. They proved that. Throughout this podcast, I'll just talk about how they just prove they just don't care about us. They don't care about anything but power. But there is a disdain. I've said it before, and I'll say it again to feminism, which I'll talk about a little bit later, believe it or not. It's women, feminism have been attacking the black man ever since Gloria Steinem got pumped and dumped by Jim Brown, and there's an attack on black masculinity as a result of that. And when a black man or a black woman has a different political view than what the norm says they should have, they get literally attacked. 50 Cent got attacked on Twitter. Ice Cube gets attacked on Twitter. This man gets attacked and then banned from Twitter. So let's get through this. During a free speech rally in San Francisco, black free speech activist Phillip Anderson was attacked by Antifa and BLM supporters as he protested outside the headquarters of Twitter, ironically enough. The incident resulted in Anderson having his two front teeth knocked out. After having his teeth knocked out, Twitter banned Anderson's account from the network. Ironically, Anderson and his group were present at Twitter to protest censorship from the social media, not giant mouse, and its decision to censor the New York Post article about Hunter Biden's emails and Joe Biden's potential connections to the Burisma Energy company corruption. Witnesses confirmed the attack, which took place on late Saturday afternoon, was unprovoked, and that Anderson was singled out for his free speech activism. Maybe. For all I know, he was singled out for his race. Again, if you are a black man, which is one of the many reasons I have this mask, if you're a black man, you have an opinion that they don't like, it's like this extra bit of vitriol. It's insane. Even though they'll use us as straw man, they use the death of black men as straw man, and they embarrass sometimes because they'll pick criminals to lionize. It's insane. It's like everything is designed to attack us. And that's the thing about powers to be. Every group rightfully feels attacked, right? I heard a lot of people talk about, man, there's a lot of anti-white men and anti-white people, and I can see it. And this is the anti-black stuff. This is the actual anti-black stuff. And these are the anti-racists and the anti-fascists. Isn't it funny how they're the most racist and fascist? And this is what Anderson agrees. Witnesses confirmed the attack, which took place. Oh, yeah, I already said that. Antifa attacked me for no reason. These people are racial terrorists, wrote Anderson on Twitter. Phillip Anderson says his free speech rally is canceled. He claims he was attacked before the event. Speakers were shot down by a large group of counter-protesters. And look at that. Crazy. I don't want to show it too long. Get knocked down. In the past, Anderson has attended several rallies in an attempt to calm violent crowds and called on Antifa and BLM supporters to choose nonviolence. As a free speech activist, he preaches open dialogue, peace, and nonviolence. And I got to commend him for that, even though I will defend myself. So I'm nonviolent, but as long as you consider self-defense not to be violent, I'm right for you. Okay, after his teeth had been knocked out, Anderson spoke to a booing crowd of BLM and Antifa rioters. You knocked the black man's teeth out. You knocked my teeth out, but you're saying Black Lives Matter. That makes no sense. I agree. The event started as a free speech rally of a small group of Trump administration supporters who wanted to protest against censorship on Twitter and other social networks. The protest held in front of Twitter HQ at United Nations Plaza began at 1 p.m. Split, and then a GoFundMe. And you know what? I should probably send a link to it. Here is the GoFundMe. Ooh, oh, did I skip? This is actually, I wanted to show because this is kind of how I feel about it. And I wanted to get back to this GoFundMe. So hold on. Let me go back. Copy link address and then. Sorry, gotta go. When I use OBS, I have to go into. Oh, Jesus. Knew that was gonna happen. You know what I'm gonna do? Just for safety purposes, let's put the thumbnail up just to make sure I don't dox myself. As I ought to put something in the damn chat. Alrighty. So, I already got a like. Shout out to whoever gave me the like. But that's the GoFundMe for Phillip Anderson in the chat. Let me get back on the screen. Okay. That's because my screen does something weird, and I just don't want it to accidentally show any information that it shouldn't. That's pretty much the story. He's an activist. He gets his teeth knocked out. He gets Twitter censoring him, and he's trying to protest against censorship. He's a non-violent brother, and it's insane. Why is this justifiable? Why won't this be reported? Why is it okay for Twitter to censor it? Why? Why? And again, shown as my previous article, if it is reported, it'll be reported, of course, by conservatives. And even if they do care about this brother, it'll be for the purposes of using him as a beard. It's disgusting. We are fucking human beings. He did not deserve to get his teeth knocked out. And fuck you, Twitter, for banning him. You piece of shit platform that is just oh my God. Twitter doesn't exist. It's not shouldn't. It doesn't exist. It's fake. It's fraudulent. The fact that people fictionally believe in Twitter, this small, minute representation, it's Tumblr. Just think about how stupid it would have been to make Tumblr the basis for everything that we identify pop culture with. That's how intelligent it is to make Twitter. And you censor crap, all these stupid platforms censor crap. And I hope you know that you censoring, the stories I just spoke about, the Ice Cube and the censorship of the Biden story is what made me say, okay, you know what? I was going to not vote, but fuck it. You guys win. And then with all those commercials, don't let them take away your power. Go out there and vote. You know what? I will. That's exactly what I'll do. And it was satisfying as fuck to just keep hitting Republican. Even though I don't fuck with the Republicans, they're fucking useless. But just to tell the Democrats, fuck you, how about that? It was so satisfying. I don't give a fuck. I would do it again gladly because fuck you. Fuck you. And Antifa, fuck you. Like I said, I'm not going to say anything more. Let me just go on to the next story. And actually, let me go on to the next tab. I wanted to kind of show if I can get to it. There we go. Let's get the headphones going. I want to show this because this is representative of what I feel about the left. This is extremely representative of what I feel about the left.
They're a threat to a safe and stable world.
This is what they are to me.
You think killing Superman would make the world safe? Or killing this boy? Or us? Tell me, how many of us do you have to kill to keep us safe?
They're the ones I'm after, not you. I'm not the menace. Metahumans are.
Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? This unaware monster. In my Even Klobuchar video, my first video I keep referencing because it's actually one of my favorites that I've done. I have the falling down clip. Am I the bad guy? In just context for this scene I just played, that is General Eiling, I believe his name is, and he takes this mutagen so he can get superpowers so he can beat up the evil Justice League. Only they're off on a mission, and he attacks a parade where there's only the members who don't have powers that are available. And he beats the crap out of them, and he nearly kills them. And the crowd realizes, hey, you're going to kill these members of the Justice League who are just trying to protect us. And you see the scene where they stand up, and it's a little bit more to it. I didn't want to play anymore. I saw many men, and now showing this, I might get flagged. Plus, I'm talking about Hunter Biden and everything. I got enough reason to get flagged, right? But that's what I feel about the left. And that's what a lot of people feel about the left. And I know the common sense liberals are starting to pick up on it, but I wish more of them realize that, the ones who are screaming and ranting. Listen, you're ranting about Trump supporters, and hey, there's some toxicity on that side, as I just talked about. But holy shit, do you see what you're doing? You know, even more context to this. The Justice League are not completely innocent in this series. You know what I mean? There's not perfection, but you guys are monsters. You knocked the man's teeth out because he didn't agree. And it's a mostly white group, more than likely, if it's Antifa or BLM, to be quite frank. Knock out a black man's teeth because they don't agree with him. And they'll burn down black businesses. They'll come from out of town, burn down black businesses. I talked about it. It's the Tulsa all over again. It's racially bigoted attacks in the name of racial justice. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. And with all the media balkanization, I mean, it's frightening. Okay. Let's, let me, sorry. Okay. I'm just getting everything set up. So now it's time to get into more celebrities being harassed for political reasons. That is, if I can get some cooperation from my... Oh, Jesus. What is going on, YouTube? Don't do this to me. Okay, we're just going to switch tabs. This is the fundraiser for Phillip Anderson. Please, if you have any ability to toss something to the GoFundMe, he's got 32. Did he get more? He's at 33. Good for him. Almost 34K. He needs his teeth fixed. I'm not sure what the dental cost is in San Francisco or the availability with everyone leaving. I'm sure it's not going to be easy or cheap. So please help this brother out. He did not deserve what happened to him. Let's get into Chris Pratt. This Jezebel. This garbage. And okay, I'm going to point out these weird leftist writers. And I talked about how feminism hates not just black men, just men in general. And it's just Jezebel, a feminist magazine for a failing company. If I remember correctly, I think I even did a report about how this corporation, I think the IO9 Corporation, all these different blogs are failing. And I think this is the crap. Why? Oh, Chris Pratt, just come out and say you're a Republican. Thanks. Somehow there are 2 mere weeks before Election Day, which is both comforting and nauseating. The next 2 weeks are critical. Maybe they don't mean spit. Regardless of what you stand on what's happening on November 3rd, if you're not quite sure about who you're going to vote for, let the cast of an Avengers movie minus Chris Pratt, spicy, convince you otherwise. So, word on the street is the people who played the Avengers movies are assembling and the star power to do a fundraiser for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and then it gives this list of actors. And who is missing for the list? Ends with a Chris. Begins with a Chris and is with a rat. This is disgusting. They keep calling him Chris Rat throughout this article. There's other names missing, like Robert Downey, but they didn't want to attack him, which they probably are now, as I'll show a little bit later, because they defend him, actually. And it just goes on, talks about MAGA. He's a MAGA-loving, big red too buff Republic. Like, what is this? This is just crazy. Crispy Rat. You call him names because he doesn't want to go, or as it says, may not have even been invited. Let me see. This is the second article where they break down the fact that he said a lot of stuff on both ends, and I'm trying to see. They talk about homophobic teachings, which leftists will stop against Islamophobia and homophobia. Pick one. But of course, he's a Christian, so therefore he's homophobic. Even though he's a Republican, even though he's giving money to Democrats, he's giving money to Barack Obama. But I'm trying to look for the part where it says, and I know you're probably reading it, but I'm trying to read through a mask. It's always an issue. Oh, here it is. It said Chris Pratt would notably sit out the event, or he wasn't invited. So we don't even know if he was even invited to this event, but he has to be attacked by Jezebel, by this dweeb Megan Reynolds. She has to attack Chris Pratt. He's Crispy Rat, all of this crap because Megan Reynolds. And don't attack her. Don't say anything about her. You know what I mean? She puts this guy out there. I'll put her out there. It's not right. You can't. It's not fair. Same with this Joan Summers person. Is he a Republican? I torture myself with a decade of internet history. And granted, I know these writers are just trying to make money, but you don't have to attack people to make money. It goes about, Chris Pratt's career, calls him homophobic, public works destroyer, because socialism, if you don't believe in socialism, you're the devil, will burn you down just to prove it. And he was, again, missing at a Parks and Recreation, because he was on that show. He was missing at one of those events as well. They had an event supporting the Democratic Party. He sat it out. And this is the one. He said it was not representative. They quote him as saying, remember when he said there wasn't enough representation for white men? That is not what he said. And this is, again, feminism being diminishing to black people in a subversive way, which is not surprising because Gloria Steinem got pumped and dumped, and that energy has never left. Because what Chris Pratt says, he doesn't see any personal stories that necessarily resonate with him because they're not his stories. There's room for him to tell. Let me just read the quote. I don't see personal stories that necessarily resonate with me because they're not my stories, said Pratt. I think there's room for me to tell mine and probably an audience that will be hungry for them. The voice of the average blue-collar American isn't necessarily represented in Hollywood. There are black blue-collar Americans. There are Latino blue-collar Americans. In fact, most black, Latino, and all races, whatever, most people are blue-collar Americans. But these latte liberals who racked up student debt and body counts want to tell you he needs more white representation because he wants more blue-collar stories. Every goddamn story for like 20 years is some liberal in New York who writes for a magazine, who has this expensive-ass apartment, never has a financial problem, having a romantic issue. How many rom-coms have that set up? There's no blue-collar stories. Or superhero movies. Everyone's a billionaire or superpowered. There's no blue-collar stories. There's no regular people's stories, normal people's stories given, like, real attention. Black, white, Mexican, whoever. It's not about necessarily race all the damn time. But you demons don't even understand it. Lauren Evans. Is she the one who looked really crazy? Oh no, she just looks. Sheesh. Okay. And then it looks like she has an article. She calls him a dirtbag. This is an old article. This is from 2017. But that was just what they thought. Oh, he's saying something about how he thinks white people need more representation because he wants blue collar stories. No, he just wants normal people represented. And this is again from 2017. And I found this crazy story where Ellie Goulding, and I'm not even 100% sure who she is, but this is just indicative of what I think of the left, and I want to be proven wrong. I wish I could, if there was someone in my chat who was hardcore left, please discuss this, because this is the mentality I think. This Ellie Goulding woman, she says she sweats and doesn't shower after. Okay. It's a bit gross. Sometimes I don't shower at all if we're going to the studio. Even after I train, she says, I feel like I never smell. We talk about the expression, you act like your shit doesn't stink. She literally says that even after she sweats, she doesn't stink. She doesn't stink. She stinks. She feels like she doesn't stink. So yeah, that just bugged me. It's like that is in the mentality of a lot of people, not just a lot of narcissists in this era. And that's an old article, but I just saw it. I'm like, okay, I gotta say something about that, because again, that energy still permeates. There's no way I could be wrong. It's those evil Trump supporters. Well, hey, like, I don't like Trump. Let's talk. I bet you it's a lot of people that can have a common ground. We can discuss things and probably get a lot of these politicians, whoever you want, out the way and really get actual change of things for the people. And I just gave that talk about Chris Pratt and Robert Downey Jr. and leftist Mark Ruffalo defend Chris Pratt after the actor is dubbed the worst Hollywood Chris by another evil magazine wants to be, they're so clever because Chris Pratt doesn't go to their fundraiser, maybe not even invited, who knows, but they're so clever, they're so smart. And RDJ hadn't really gotten in the culture war. I got to give him and Mark Ruffalo a lot of credit. Robert Downey Jr., he has a lot to lose by saying this. He was no longer Iron Man. His last movie was a bomb, a huge financial bomb. We see the attention and the vitriol people get for talking out or just having a neutral opinion. Because again, Chris Pratt doesn't have a MAGA hat. His only crime, and I actually deleted the tab, his only crime was making a joke about onward and voting. Of course, he's the worst person on earth because he doesn't support Joe Biden and horrible Kamala Harris. But Robert Downey Jr. has a lot to lose. And Mark Ruffalo, who I just last week, I stand by everything I said because he said something that's very dangerous, because he was trying to defend Kamala Harris just because of her race and the fact that she was a woman, and that's a dangerous precedent to set, because then you could just have someone who's to protect the class who basically becomes all powerful by those rules. That's why critical theory is disturbing and detrimental in general. But despite me disagreeing completely with Mark Ruffalo and really being pretty upset with him, quite frankly, with a lot of things he said, not just then, but just in the past, this is extremely stand up for Mark Ruffalo. And I'm going to give credit where credit is due, because again, has a lot to lose and is a unabashed leftist, an unabashed Kamala Harris and Biden supporter. That's who he's for. But when he sees his friend attacked by that mob, he stood up for him. And you gotta have balls to do that. I mean, you can lose a lot. You know what the mob is gonna do to you when that happens. You know what phone calls you're gonna get right after, and you may not get other phone calls when it comes to work. And to have the chutzpah to do that when you yourself are a leftist and are on the side of the left, the side that's attacking him, that takes a stand-up guy, whether I like him or not. And I got to give him credit for that. And so I'll get into the article. And also his wife, of course, which, hey, got to have a ride or die, right? So, Catherine Schwarzenegger, Robert Downey Jr., and Mark Ruffalo defend Chris Pratt after said that being mean. So yesterday, Pratt's wife, Catherine Schwarzenegger Pratt, wrote, said, Catherine Schwarzenegger Pratt, RDJ, and Ruffalo defend Chris Pratt after an internet challenge named him the worst Hollywood Chris. Everybody hates Chris. The author and new mother at 30 came to her husband's defense after filmmaker Amy Berg asked people on Twitter which Hollywood Chris has to go. Who the hell is Amy Berg? Pratt began trending over the weekend as a result of responding to an Instagram post by E! News that asked followers the same question. Schwarzenegger wrote, "Is this really what we need? Facts. There's so much going on in the world. People are struggling in so many ways." She continued, "Being mean is so yesterday. There's enough room to love all these guys. Love is all we need, not meanness or bullying. Let's try that." And then this is tweets. Downey Jr., and he's getting killed on Twitter. I know of that. But again, Twitter's not representing anything. It's fake. It's not real. But who cares? The media has to use it as a straw man. And Ruffalo, Pratt's Avengers Endgame co-stars, also replied on Twitter challenge, writing on their respective social media accounts. "What a world. The sinless are casting stones at my brother Chris Pratt," Downey Jr. said. That's, again, stand up. He wrote on Instagram along with a photo of him and Pratt on the set of Avengers Endgame. "A real Christian who lives by principle has never demonstrated anything but positivity and gratitude, and he is just married into a family that makes space for civil discourse and just plain facts, insists on service as the highest value. If you take issue with Chris, I got a novel idea," Downey Jr. continued. "Delete your social media accounts, sit with your own defects of character, and work on them, then celebrate your humanness." And he said, "At Pratt, I got your back. Wow. That's some leadership. Listen. Like, I know RDJ's a real one. That's a real one. Not everybody has. He has no need to do that. None. He gains nothing from doing that. He's going to be killed from doing it. He's getting killed from doing that. He could lose jobs. I know he has FU money, but still, that's a ballsy move. And then Ruffalo, again, a guy who's on the left unabashedly, said, "You all at Pratt is a solid man." That's Chris Pratt's Twitter. "As a solid man as there is, I know him personally, and instead of casting aspersions, look at how he lives his life." Ruffalo at 52 continued, He's just not overly political as a rule. This is a distraction. Let's keep our eyes on our prize friends. We're so close now." Because he's still pushing his train. But he just said, hey, he's not over political. That's just how he is. That's how a lot of people are. That's how I really was. And I just felt the need, because of all this craziness, that I have to speak. I feel voiceless. And I don't want to feel voiceless. But he's not political. He doesn't deserve to be attacked. Nobody for just liking Trump should be attacked. In general, for not even, like, we've moved this so far crazy. Of course, if you're a Trump supporter, you need your teeth knocked out. You should be shot dead if you're a police officer. Obviously, because ACAB, BLM. Unless it's a black man that doesn't listen to the white leftist mob. Then we got to shoot him, kill him, beat him down, burn his building down, burn down his business, so we can give him socialism to get rid of the racist capitalism. It's garbage. It's complete garbage. I know it was a tangent, but that attacking, everyone has to be attacked because they don't agree. And if they just slightly disagree, like, again, people who don't support Trump are going to vote for him because of his actions. I don't know if he's going to win. I've said I think Biden's going to win because, unfortunately, I think their plan to ruin everything and blame it on Trump has worked. But we will see. We will see. So time to get into something fucking silly. CNN proved themselves to be the dumb bastards that Trump said, as CNN's Jeffrey Toobin taking time off in wake of embarrassing Zoom gaffe. CNN legal analyst, who's going to need a lawyer, is taking a leave of absence from the news network after reportedly, he didn't just expose himself, he jerked. I don't know if he finished, but he got to jerking in front of, like, who does that? Like, why, if you're going to jerk right there on a Zoom call? This is insane. He asked for time, asked for some time off while he deals with some personal issues. Yeah, he will have some fucking personal issues. You need to see a fucking counselor, bro. That seems like it's some on purpose shit. Like he likes the thrill of it or something. According to Vice, Tubin was participating in a Zoom call with colleagues from the New Yorker last week, with several participants reportedly called him masturbating. "I made an embarrassing, stupid mistake believing I was off camera." Tubin said in a statement, "I apologize to my wife, friends, and family co-workers. I believed I was not visible on Zoom. I thought no one on the Zoom call could see me. I thought I had muted Zoom video." That's not really what we asked. It's good to know. Why were you masturbating on a Zoom call, sir? That would be the number one overall pick for questions that we would ask, that anyone would ask. So what about a Zoom fucking conference call? I get on these things every day, sometimes every week. What about that got you hard? I mean, unless there was somebody really high in the conference. What happens on these damn CNN conference calls? You know what I'm saying? Oh, goodness. This guy wrote a book on O.J. Simpson. So that's just a crazy story about CNN. If you thought they were jerking off in your face, apparently they take that literal. And speaking of people jerking off in your face, Troy effing Aikman. I do have the video. Let's get this going. I'm going to let his words speak for themselves.
That's a lot of jet fuel just to do a little flyover.
That's your hard-earned money and your tax dollars at work.
That stuff ain't happening with Kamala Biden ticket. I'll tell you that right now, partner.
Okay. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and this article. What did they say? Troy Aikman and Joe Buck perfectly slammed flyovers and made COVID pandemic on hot mic. Military jets have been flying over sporting events for part of the national anthem for years. You can't be anti-American. Using your tax dollars to work. It's not going to happen with Kamala and Joe. Yeah, partner. $60,000 per hour, which is a lot. But your tax dollars at work. Yeah, Joe. $6.7 billion of taxpayer dollars have been spent on the fucking NFL. Or making sure your stupid ass can make a lot of fucking money. Who the fuck are you? Who in the fuck are you? I'm fuck everything because I'm saying fuck a lot. I'm pissed. This stuff makes me angry. Bro, if you want to say it's stupid, cool. It kind of is. But your tax dollars at work, if we want to get to frivolous tax dollars, let's stop paying so much for sports stadiums. Let the fucking owners pay for the damn stadiums. Make sure I'm not getting...
Easy way to vote. Don't wait.
Sorry about that. Let the taxpayers stop paying for stadiums. So, figure it out, Joe. Figure it out, Troy. Troy Aikman. They're a decent... I always thought they were kind of overrated as a team. They're kind of annoying. But Joe Buck is very annoying to me. Troy Aikman's okay. And he's gotten worse over the years. And another reason why I rarely watch sports. But, it's such a great thing to slam the flyover. But it's like, a lot of people like it. There are people in the stadium. There's some people in the stadium, they want to see it. That's cool. It's a part of the fucking spectacle of the game. The whole thing is overpaid by tax dollars. None of it should have tax dollar contributed to it. You're right, Joe. Let's just get rid of the police escorts for your security as well. Let's get rid of all that. You're right. Your tax dollars at work, Joe and Troy. Let's just take it to its logical extent. Who the fuck are you guys to tell anybody what to do with their tax dollars? And I don't like getting on the side. I hate when the right just does, anyone who agrees with us is right. Anyone who agrees with us is wrong. And the same when the left does it. But now it's not, I know it's... I think they knew it was a hot mic. Your tax dollars, I really do. Okay, won't happen with Kamala and Joe. They're going to take more taxes, you idiot. We just talked about that with 50 Cent. They're going to take more taxes. But as long as they'll be able to spend on stadiums and everything else, you can shit on the flyovers. Just garbage. Pure garbage. Speaking of the sports industry, this is what was going on before the restart of the NBA. We're going to get into the NBA. TV advertisers were primed for a healthy NBA restart. After 140 days of riding a virtual pine, the NBA on Thursday will start its pandemic season with a roster of fired up TV advertisers and, more important, a clean bill of health. And talking about how fired up the TV advertisers how much money they were spending on advertising, and how it was going down, and that the advertisers were happy for the NBA. It's another article. Turner Sports sold out the regular season NBA ad inventory ahead of the restart. So they were making money off tax dollars. Not tax dollars, I'm thinking about the last article. Money off of advertisers. They were making money. They were like, hey, advertisers can't wait for this NBA season to start. And now the NBA ratings crash could dramatically lower advertising and music licensing fees as well in 2021. And unexpectedly sharp ratings decline. Unexpected? Jesus, these people are delusional. They think they don't stink. As talked about Ellie Gold, they think they don't stink. They think that they do nothing wrong. We did nothing. I did nothing. Unexpectedly sharp ratings drop could have substantial ramifications for 2021 advertising and music license fees, according to industry experts. A substantial, sustained drop in NBA viewership is now causing advertisers to recalibrate their budgets for next year, according to details disclosed this week. In turn, those advertisers are likely to pay substantially lower music licensing fees and production fees if they remain advertisers at all. So, again, they're going to pay substantially lower music licensing fees and production fees if they remain advertisers at all. And the EJ's Neo Saturday Night, sponsored by nobody. When you're successful, well, declining, because they were declining even before the coup. But when you're at a much higher spot than you are now, sponsored by nobody. That's what the whole NBA is going to be. Because you crashed on your viewership. Because you went woke, you went broke. And as we showed, BLM doesn't care about black people, to paraphrase Kanye West. But you put them on your floor anyway for racial justice. You got to stand strong with the players by forcing them to join this Marxist movement and shaming them if one like Jonathan Isaac should ever stand up. Stand up like a man and say no. You will yell at us, kneel. We will whisper no. Like, we will no. Jonathan Isaac did that. He hurts himself. People celebrate. The same demons on Twitter. There's only so many of them. So I can blame Twitter. It's not enough people to not be the same people. Because not enough people use it. It's a fake fucking site. But look what it got you. You wanted to follow Twitter. It proves itself to be fake. You wanted to go woke. It's been written and repeated. Thy whom goes woke shall surely be broken. And you went woke, you went broke. And now, 7.4 million, which is a lot relative to a lot of people watch, but it's less than a lot of high-ranking college football games. It's less than a lot, quite frankly. This is article has some of the stuff that I've ranked it. Has the drop. So 45% drop from last year's game 1. Game 3 was the lowest rated, and the ratings just got lower and lower. So this is let me see. This beforehand, yeah. Just the ratings kept getting lower, setting new lows, and the ratings, the reasons are unclear and debated. Don't get me wrong, COVID played a big role. Even with someone like me who's pretty pissed, I think maybe I could have got into it with COVID. But the racial justice protests. These aren't for racial justice. It's for Marxism. As I keep twisting my neck, I know my neck's been looking all crazy this whole episode. But this is not for racial justice. This is for Marxism, and you lost a lot of viewers, and you're going to lose advertising, you're going to lose money, and all these woke, rich A athletes. And I love basketball. I mean, I've even talked just privately, like, man, despite all this crap, basketball could actually be saved. It would take a lot of work. It would take focusing on making the sport a bigger recreational sport to get more viewers in and actually field more athletes. I think with the skills era that we have, you could get a lot of players from a lot of different places involved for marketing purpose, and just for skills purpose, and just for having basketball as a brand, as a sport. But it's going to take time to rebuild the NBA. And they're going to remove all the woke messaging because they know what happened. You know, if it was so undebated and unclear, or debated and unclear, and we just don't know why these ratings failed, and why in the world is the NBA getting rid of BLM messaging? They seem to think it had an impact on their ratings, and they're going to start losing advertisers. We already know that now, basically, from this article. They will lose advertisers, and they will lose support from those advertisers. So, all because they want to go woke. All because they want the virtue signal. And in the name of racial justice, where these groups will attack a black man just for wanting to discourse. This is what you get. And I'm just sick of these people. So, last article before we do our positive news and end for the day. And this is one I don't know what to do with. I'm going to go a little bit more throughout this one because I kind of skimmed through the rest. Google is, I do believe it to be a monopoly, but I don't like the government involving themselves with business, even though when it comes to Google. That ship sailed pretty much at origin when it comes to Google. I mean, goodness, they're basically the CIA's biggest client, or biggest vacuum of information. But there is a DOJ antitrust lawsuit that has been opened up. The U.S. accuses Google of illegally protecting a monopoly. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. Quite frankly, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing because I just don't have the legal expertise to say. I can't make enough sense to know what would be the outcome in the future. That's what makes it good or bad. What's the end game for this? How is this going to affect content creators like me? How is this going to affect blogs? How is this going to affect not just things that directly tie into Google brands, but Google itself as a platform of finding information? And we know they've done a lot of things to manipulate information in a lot of ways, even minor ways, balkanizing people over minutia. And they have been determined, or at least accused, of being a monopoly. And there's some credence to it, given how powerful they are. Victory for the government could remake one of America's most recognizable companies, and the internet economy that it has helped to define. Yeah, it is a part of the internet economy. Washington, the Justice Department accused Google on Tuesday of illegally protecting its monopoly over search advertising, the government's most significant challenge to a tech company's market power in a generation, and one that can reshape the way consumers use the internet. I remember they broke down Microsoft. They broke their asses down. Now they built themselves back up. It didn't really matter in the long run, but they did it. In a much anticipated lawsuit, the agency accused Google of locking up deals with giant partners like Apple and throttling competition through exclusive business contracts and agreements. Google's deals with Apple, mobile carriers, and other headset makers to make its search engine the default option for users accounted for most of its dominant market share in search. The agency said a figure that it put around 80%. For many years, the agency said in its 57-page complaint, Google says used anti-competitive tactics to maintain and extend its monopolies in the markets for general search advertising, and general search text advertising, the cornerstones of its empire. The lawsuit may stretch on for years, could set off a cascade of other antitrust lawsuits from state attorneys general. About 4 dozen state and jurisdictions, including New York and Texas, have conducted parallel investigations, and some of them are expected to bring separate complaints against the company's grip on technology and online advertising. 11 state attorney generals, all Republicans, and that's significant because this is not bipartisan, signed on to back the federal lawsuit. Good old AG Will Barr has spoken publicly about the investigation for months. He urged the agency to file a case by the end of September, prompting resistance from some of his lawyers who wanted more time and complained of political motivations. And when you see all Republicans, that's a understandable complaint. Even though I do believe there was someone, I want to say Elizabeth Warren on the Democrat side was backing this, but some people say she may not be completely educated on the whole social media, not social media, but the whole way search engine. I mean, she knows how Google works, but just not everything involved with the case. But it's neither here nor there. Google called the suit deeply flawed. Let's see what's more. It's quite a bit more. Oh, geez, this is a long article. So there's a lot to break down here. I'm not an attorney. I'll probably read that on my own. My thing, and as I read it, as cool as this may sound, I don't know if I get having antitrust laws. I get not wanting monopolies, and I don't want monopolies, but I don't see them actually working to prevent monopolies because Google exists. So what's the precedent of them determining, especially when political motivation, I'm a centrist, like I said, lean conservative, but I can understand why they can make that complaint because there's not any attorney generals on the other side. And do you want the government impacting what big tech does? Do I like the fact that Google can lock up deals with Apple and do all these things to suppress content or competitors? Absolutely not. However, is it the government's place, and will they overstep their bounds in enforcement, and what is the fallout from that? A lot of people make a lot of money off of Google directly, who work for Google, and indirectly the entire internet digital economy, as far as informational economy, including something like the New York Times itself. A lot of it relies on Google. And what happens if we start over-regulating them and suppressing Google's ability to be Google? Goodness, they're too powerful. They do a lot of wicked things. They used to be don't be evil, and they've long not just given up that ideology formally, but with their energy and with what they do. But the government's intervention, it doesn't always go how you want. And that's really my real issue with a lot of the progressive tactics in general, progressive policies in general. Is once you get the government involved, you don't always get them out. And so what are they going to do when they go after Google? And is this going to stick? The political narrative, if more attorney generals on the other side, and this is a bipartisan effort, I think that would be impactful. I don't know if the Dems are waiting until after the election. I don't know if 3 weeks from now they're a little bit more willing to come to the table on this one. But it's scary either way. I do think something has to happen when it comes to antitrust and these tech companies, and something has to happen with free speech and these tech companies. But I have a lot of things. But something, if you're going to do this too big to fail garbage, you might as well make them a utility and then regulate. But then that allows more political regulation. And I really just don't want the government in everyone's business. I don't want Google in everyone's business. But the government being involved with Google, telling them how they run their business and impacting how they run their search engine, it's just mixed because I don't like a lot of their practices. And I want more alternative media and alternative sources to get out. AdSense is so powerful, and there should be more AdSenses and more ways for advertising. But I know there are other advertising platforms, but it should be a lot more available, a lot easier to not rely on Google for all the ad money of the internet. And that's a scary thing in and of itself. But too much regulation doesn't always solve the problem. It can create new ones. So we will see how this goes. I don't know what I want to happen. I do want I really want Google to be held accountable for its actions, and I'm sure they did a lot of things that were antithetical to maintaining balance and competitive balance, and I'm sure they acted as a monopoly. I know it just by the way they suppress the way they suppress content in general. But again, the government getting involved, and it is a little bit more partisan than I think the optics would like, and just in general. I mean, like I said, not a huge fan of Republicans. They usually do nothing, but hey, they're doing something. At least they're going after Google. I really want the free speech to be involved, but I know it's not going to be involved in this case. Those are separate issues. But that's the thing that really threatens me, not just as a content creator, but just as someone who's seeking information, who's always trying to educate myself. The way free speech can be, suppressed. And I keep talking about the guy, a free speech advocate, getting his teeth knocked out. It's really disturbing. And this article, I probably should do my own video. I may separate this out, take my time, and really break down everything and just give my opinion on what I know. I'm not Ricada Law. I'm not an expert, but just give a breakdown of what I think. So, almost an hour and a half, hour 20 in. Get into the last story. I always want to end on a positive note. I want to remind people that no matter what's going on in the world, good people exist and are people who are working for the betterment of everyone. And, when I look up good news, one of the reasons, if you look on my first few videos, I did a positive news podcast. So I started with. But it got too political. But it's good to see these sisters. Did Judy Cole, this author, pick these ladies out because they were black? I don't know, but they have something that's beautiful, and I love seeing my sisters. I love seeing my people do anything, Nigerian, Irish, just the whole diaspora, right? And hey, I'm part Irish, as I've mentioned on Sweetcast, so still connection there. But these Nigerian Irish teens developed a dementia app for sufferers coping with lockdown, and it's won awards. Thanks to these three remarkable teenagers and their amazing mentor, there's a brand new app on the horizon specifically designed for dementia patients and caregivers to better navigate the confusing waters of the disease. While STEM, here's why I say political, because they say, oh, it's traditionally a boys' club. And again, it wouldn't shock me if these sisters were picked out because they're sisters, and I love my sisters. You know what I mean? I hate that we're in such a political climate that I have to question that, where I can't just be proud of them for having the ability to put out an app. I've done it before. It is a lot of work. With brilliant minds like those of Joy, I don't want to mispronounce the young sister's name, Joy N at 17, Rachel Akano 15, and Margaret Akano 17, whose innovative app, Memory Haven, recently bested a field of 1,500 entrants from 62 countries to take first place in the Technovation Girls Competition at the 2020 Technovation World Summit. Jesus, here go gender barriers and glass ceilings for consent control. Gender barrier. This is why I went away from the political news. This is a beautiful story about girls who were able to win contests with something that can be beneficial to people. But instead, this author is focused on identity politics. Who cares? It's a beautiful thing that this can help people with dementia. That's something that people suffer with. And it's no joke. And the fact that these young girls, are able to come up with something is a beautiful thing. But of course, that's why I prefaced it with the politics, because the politics are coded in this writing of what is it? That's a funny thing. What is a beautiful story? These are Nigerian Irish teens live in Drogheda on the east coast of Ireland. Their mentor, Evelyn Amayo, is currently pursuing her PhD in computer science and statistics. This is also beautiful to see actual pursuit of STEM and to see actual education. We got so much, what the hell, a little jump. So many of our teachers are just teaching, at least over here, just teaching Marxism. She's teaching how to make an app and how to impact people. When Amaya realized she was often the only female or person of color in her class, the obvious imbalance troubled her. So with the goal of bringing more goals to people of color in that space, I'm not a person of color. I'm just saying black people. I'm not a person of color. Stop making everyone, just white and colored because we're so privileged to have less melanin. Get out of here. Just subversive racism stuff. Just stop. Sound fucking nuts. But this initiative is still cool. The fact that she made an initiative for black women in Ireland, but as she made this initiative and they came up with something, I think that's really to me that's the story. And this is cool. It's definitely cool. But I think you lead with, hey, look what this can do for people, all people. And it's great that she's able to get more. I want more black people in general into the STEM space. I think it sort of sucks when they just say, a lot of these are just black women. It's like, hey, I think all black people, I think all people in general need to get as much STEM as they can. You know what I'm saying? I digress. She found a phase innovative whose mission is to mentor and train underrepresented minorities in the fields of tech and business. And this is great. Training, education. That if you're going to be about some racial justice, I know there's a lot of virtue signaling by the author, but this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you can make an impact on actual racial justice, because now you have people who can economically and intelligently empower themselves and be more impactful in anything that comes against anyone. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we need in general. So I gotta kind of separate from the leftist narrative because it's a beautiful thing. And I love my people. I want to see this sort of stuff. I just don't want, it's not for whoever this author is, get her name again, Judy Cole, who I'm sure is not, I'm sure she thinks she's privileged because she has less melanin. I'm not sure of that, but I'm just sure that she, you know what I mean. But I'm sure she's Caucasian. No, actually, she could be a different race. My point is, despite the kind of leftist jargon, this is a beautiful thing. So let me get back into the story as I've just rambled, as I've done throughout the whole night in my whole channel. So thank you for watching. I do such a bad job telling people to share, subscribe. Wait till the goddamn end of the damn podcast. Say like, share, subscribe. Okay. Inspired by Namaya's recollection of her own mother's battle with dementia and worried about how people with the condition might be struggling with lockdown, the trio brainstormed, coded, and created Memory Haven over the course of a 12-week Technovation challenge. My mom had dementia problems 3 or 4 years ago. His mother passed away earlier this year. I'm so sorry to hear that, Miss Namayo. Prayers out to your family. The first time I realized something was wrong is when she started hallucinating. She lived in America, but she'd be imagining she was in Nigeria. One time I was visiting her and I gave her something to sew, and I could see the pain in her eyes because she forgot how to. She used to be a seamstress, but she couldn't do it anymore. That is sad. Some of my experiences that I had with her, the team translated into technology to help others. Memory Haven is geared to address the 3 most common difficulties associated with dementia: speech impairment, loss of memory, and diminished capacity for recognition. The app features a music player with a built-in facial and vocal recognition that tailors the tune to specific moods, and a reach-out function to summon help in emergency situations. Other functions include a photo wallet that lets users scan throughout the tagged pictures of the important people of their lives, memory games to improve cognitive function, that's great, and health alerts that offer both patients and caregivers reminders of appointments or when it's time to take medications. Our main aim is to help as many people as possible. Project manager Akano told the BBC, "We hope that our app can go global one day and reach millions of people who are affected by dementia and just make their lives somewhat easier." I also hope that. Due to the constraints of the COOF, Njukwe, and I hope I pronounced her name correctly, and the Akano sisters conducted most of their work for Technovation through the project. Most of their work for this project through WhatsApp. Even this year's award ceremony was conducted virtually, but that didn't end the girls' joyous response when they learned they'd taken home top prize. So, like I said, unfortunately, there was a little political crap when you don't have to. It's great that she's training, brothers and sisters out there. And I'm glad it's not just a women's thing, because that's just everybody needs help. Cast the widest net. Whenever you're doing help, cast the widest net. Everyone needs help. No one's, to just say someone's privileged just because they belong to a group is just totally disparate from reality, because everybody struggles. So casting a wide net as far as helping people learn the code. Now these ladies not only released the app, which is an accomplishment of itself, in and of itself, but they've released the app that is going to help people. At least the short few amount of people they've given that app to out to so far, they've already won an award. I don't know what other apps. There's 1,500 apps. I'm sure there's other great apps that were in amongst that, and they won. Maybe it was political. Maybe it wasn't. I mean, dementia help, that's pretty innovative. And if this app can impact dementia, and of course that was not in the story, so I don't know how effective this app is, but just the fact that this is something that can have an impact, that's something to be commended, and it's something positive. And this app is for people, is for all people, and it's just really cool. And despite the leftist leaningness of the author, just the story itself speaks for itself, and it's a beautiful thing. And I am proud of these sisters, and I am also done with the show. It was a long one. It was longer than I thought it would be, an hour and a half. So if you like this video, if you like this podcast, please like the video. If you disagree with it, let me know in the comments below. If you feel so obliged to share and subscribe, please do so. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time.